Hi, welcome to Undead Yarn, Take 2, Episode 32. My name is Heidi. You can find me on Ravelry and Plurk as Knitty Girl, and on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube as Knitty Girl 1. I don't know what happened. My camera just went out while I was tape recording. I'm using the camera on my computer, and that is the weirdest thing. I've never seen that happen. I was in the middle of recording and the picture just went out. So maybe that's good because I was too busy ranting at the beginning of the last one about how I wasn't feeling good. So basically all I will say about that is no makeup today because I am having issues with my eyes being very itchy, and in general I'm having a lot of allergy issues, and along with that I just found out I have a low white blood cell count, and the doctor probably thinks it's anemia, so I have to go in and get some more stuff to find out for sure. But I just haven't been feeling good in general, like just really not good, and sadly it made me non-productive. So now I'm kind of in panic mode because I'll just tell the news right now. I have my first show coming up in January. It's called the Yellow Rose Fiber Festival, and I did die during those weeks where I wasn't feeling good, but I didn't do nearly as much as I wanted to. And I really want to make sure I have enough product or enough variation of product to interest people when I go to the Yellow Rose Fiber Festival. It is a smaller festival. I know I'm not going to be making a killing or anything, but I kind of just want to get myself out there. So anyway, suffice to say, here I am. I'm recording. I'm still feeling kind of crummy, but I've had a lot of time to rest in the past couple of weeks. So I had started talking about my works in progress, and what I'll do is I'm going to start with the one that I have in my hands. I had started talking about how I wanted to knit with Sally's dress, which is by Knitter's Nightmare. And I wanted to knit these toe-up socks by CC Almond called Catch the Rainbow that I had purchased the pattern maybe last year when she put it out. And I've just been waiting for the right yarn. I actually have two yarns in mind for this pattern, but I'm going to start this one first. This is what I have so far. This is my first time being successful in casting on toe-up socks by myself. I have knitted one toe-up sock, but somebody else cast on for me. And actually, I did knit two toe-up socks, but one of them was a little tiny baby sock in a class, and I almost don't even count it because it had a big hole on the bottom where I had done Judy's Magic Cast On. Someone named Two Nandy on Ravelry helped me with a video that showed how to do two toe up two at a time cast on for socks, and I'm not doing two at a time. I don't, at this point I don't feel like it. I may sometime try it, but right now I like my one at a time magic loop. So here's where I am, and you can see the pattern has started, and so far I love it. And Sadie, this colorway is just gorgeous. You're not seeing the black areas are actually blue, but the rest of the colors are showing up wonderful. Great job. I love this yarn. It's really well saturated. There's a little bit of tonality in it, but not a lot, and it's beautiful to work with. It's also a shiny base, so I'm enjoying working with that. So I have that, and I also am still working on the Viajante. I've put a couple rows on it, but it doesn't look any different from the last time I showed you guys. That's the pattern by Martina Bim, and I'm using a Spunky Eclectic in the Soylent Green colorway, and it's a lace weight yarn. And I think I talked about that last time. It's got like 1,750 yards in it. It's awesome. And I'm looking forward to wearing that when it's done. I think it's going to look like a big long coat. I love the picture where she was wearing the center part on her head, and then it went all around her body. Oh, it's so cozy. It'd be great. I'm drinking some Kai tea today. I got this diffuser online. I can't remember where I got it, but I need to get another one because these don't last very long. They get, I guess because tea stains so much, like it's just very hard to get them really clean after a while. it's time for another one. Okay, so those are the two of the things. I have one more thing I've been working on. I showed this a long time ago, and I wasn't going to talk about it till I was finished, but I did actually spend quite a bit of time on it because it's gotten cold here, and I wanted something warm in my lap. This is called the Homespun Stripes Afghan, and it's by Kathleen Anderson. Oh, bad me, I stopped in the middle of a row. So you won't really be able to see. It's gotten a lot bigger. And I'm using homespun, line brand homespun to knit it. It's gotten a lot longer. And I don't think, you can kind of see the texture in there. I actually like the texture the way it looks. And I know a lot of people don't like homespun, but I do. I've used it in quite a few things. It feels soft. And the one thing I will say, I did crochet a shawl with it, and it was very hard to crochet with because it is kind of splitty. But I'm not really I don't have all that much trouble knitting with it. I guess because I like the product at the end. It looks kind of like organic, and every time you wash it, it's just soft. It gets softer. I like it because it's easy to take care of, and it actually is pretty warm. I have a couple of shawls that I made when I first started knitting, and I just leave them around the house, and because you don't have to worry about them getting wrinkled or anything like that. You just can throw them down, and it's no big deal. And you know, if I'm cold, I might just take one and put it on, and it keeps me warm. And that is actually in my DFW Fiberfest bag from this year. I believe that's from this year. They always give nice bags. Actually, they're getting nicer each time, because this one has a zipper on the top, and it has pockets in the front and in the back, and it also has a little hook. Now, I use my hook on my knitting bags to hook to my purse, but I don't think I'd hook this sucker to my purse. It's so big. But I guess if you wanted to hook some knitting bags, some other little bags on the side, you could. But it's a very sturdy, nice bag. And you get this just for being a participant and taking classes. And I have signed up for a couple of classes at DFW Fiberfest this year. So I will be there for a couple of days. I'll be there Saturday and Sunday probably. Unfortunately, it's also during the week of South by Southwest. And I know not everybody is interested in that, but I love music, I love film, and my husband loves the interactive stuff. So we just have a blast during South by Southwest. There's so much to do. So I'm probably, well, I've already signed up for my classes, so I know I will be there Saturday and Sunday. So I probably won't be there the other days because probably be catching up on some music and some films in Austin. So anyway, oh, I do also have another, well, I guess I'll start this. I guess this is a work in progress. I finished my first bobbin of the Jinx Yarn BFL. I didn't write down what the name of the color is, but I can tell you next time. This is showing up like it's orange and yellow. There is a little bit of red in there. Actually, no, this part is orange and yellow. Underneath, there's red. So there's a lot of, these are basically the colors. Underneath here, I guess you can kind of see there's a brick red. Yeah. So it's reds and yellows and oranges, my favorite colors. Only thing missing is brown. So that's my first bobbin, and if you remember, I'm going to fractal spin this. So I split it in half, and I spun the first half already, and then the ones I spun in pieces I'm going to spin together on the next bobbin, and then I'm going to apply them together. So I'm looking forward to that. It was fun to spin this because I haven't done BFL in a while. I was trying out different kinds of fibers to see what they were like, but I always love going back to BFL. So Jinx Yarn and fiber. So that is my first finished object. I actually have a few finished objects this week because I did some short projects. I have finished my Anne's Imagination cowl. don't know if you, how much you can see it. There. Not to make anybody seasick, but... And I knit this with Patton's Classic Wool. And I didn't even use the full skein. It's 210 yards, so maybe I didn't use enough, didn't do enough repeats somewhere, because she said I should have used almost all of it. And hers looks longer than mine, but I haven't, you know what, I haven't blocked it yet. I do need to block it. I think when right now I could wear it like this, and it would cover me up. But I think if I blocked it, I could probably twist it around and wear it twice. And this is by Beezy Mama Tanya Marie. She's the Sampler Girl, and she has a podcast. If you don't listen to her podcast, you should. She's a really sweet and fun lady. I enjoy listening to her podcast. She and her mom did a podcast, a video podcast, which she doesn't normally do. And they were so cute together. I was laughing along with them. So if you don't you don't listen to the Sampler Girl, you should. She's a lot of fun to listen to. So let me see if I can show you. There's different sections. It's like she says, the Sampler Girl, I guess she used to do this when she did cross-stitch patterns. She used different stitches. Like, I guess when she did her cross-stitch pattern, she would use different stitches in the pattern. So I finished that, and I also finished, I hope I have it in here, I finished the cowl with my yarn, using my pattern that I put out before I even started podcasting. I've had this pattern for a long time. Look at that. I don't see it in there. I did finish, it's called the Keep It Simple Cowl, and I used my Undead yarn in the worsted weight, which is the Frankenstein base, and I used the color Purple Vein. And it came out different, very different from the superwash yarns, because this is not a superwash yarn, so the colors came out more subtle and it looks more kettle dyed than it typically does. I'm not sure where that is. Hold on, I will go see. I'll be right back. I'm going to go see if I can find it. Maybe it fell on the floor. Well, so much for that. I guess I will have to show that next time I record, because I don't see it and I don't want to spend a lot of time looking around for it. If I happen to spot it in here. This is my office where I do a lot of rescanning, where I do my warping, where I package everything up, where I do, you know, cut all the paper for the packaging, print everything out. So, and I also have all my books in here. I have 3, yep, just 3. It seems like more because I have lots and lots of books. I would say probably about half of them are knitting books, a quarter of them are books for work, like little kid books or speech therapy books, and then the rest are all fiction. And it's full, and I'm trying to be good and just do Kindle now. But basically that just lets you know I have a lot of stuff in this office. So I will see if I can find that cowl while I'm reporting. If I can't, I will show it again next week. But you can also see it. I put it up on Ravelry, and I also put it up on Instagram. And it is a free pattern. It's very simple. It uses, normally it uses bulky weight yarn, but I used my worsted weight and I modified it. I'll have to go back and put in the modifications. So if anybody wants something that you can knit really quickly, I think Sampler Girl knit my cowl, and I think it took her like just 4 hours or maybe something like that. For me, it took me a couple days because I didn't knit on it consistently, but it doesn't take very long at all. I was so happy because mostly I knit stuff that takes a while, like socks and shawls. I was so happy when it was done. I was like, oh my gosh, this went so fast. I had forgotten. But the reason I made a cowl that's not a big, you can't double it up. It's one that stays near your neck, kind of like a dickie. Remember those? If you're old enough to remember those. But it's not as tight to your neck. But it stays near your neck, and you can wear it around your face if you want, or you can fold it down. So you can wear it up when it's cold or down when it's not, and it looks good either way because it's on the top part is ribbed. But it's a free pattern, so if you have some bulky yarn and you want to make something warm and comfortable quickly, that would be a good thing to do. I think it'd probably also be good for gift knitting. It's something you can do quickly, and it uses bulky weight yarn. And like I said, I will go ahead and write in the cowl that I did with my worsted weight. I'll put in my modifications. What's next? Let's see. I had to write down stuff because I have a lot of things to talk about, and I think last couple of podcasts, I ended up forgetting something. So I've got a lot of stuff written down over here. Week in review, I did have a birthday. I am now 45 years old. And we went to Waco, my husband and I and the dogs. We took all of the dogs with us. Here's one right now. Come here, Bella. I'm interrupting her nap. Say hi. Say hi, Bella. Anyway, they went with us. And when we were in Waco, we went out to eat. Nothing spectacular. I kind of think the food in Austin is better. But we went to the Dr. Pepper Museum, which was fun. It did feel like a big commercial because by the end you're like, oh, I want Dr. Pepper, which of course they have their own little kind of soda shop because I guess the guy who invented Dr. Pepper was actually a pharmacist, and back in the day, the old pharmacies did have a soda counter and all that kind of stuff. So we had some from, like, they called it from the tap, and it actually tasted better, and it tasted different from the stuff you buy in a can. And we also went to a mammoth site, and it wasn't a woolly mammoth site. It was the mammoth that was a relative of the woolly mammoth, but it was a bigger animal, and it had less fur because it was in a warmer climate. And apparently some little kids that were out digging for arrowheads found a big, huge bone, and they brought it home, and they were smart enough to figure out that that was not a human bone, and so they found out that was a site where a lot of mammoth bones were. And so we got to go in and see where they were digging, and they showed us the different animals and what ages they were, and it was really, really interesting. I hadn't heard about the woolly mammoth having a relative. And we also went to a history museum on the Baylor campus, which was nice. The Baylor campus is beautiful. There were, I think, maybe 3 or 4 museums on the campus, and they all were beautiful buildings. They looked more stately than the other buildings, but all the buildings on that campus are gorgeous. And so that was really nice. And then for Halloween, we went downtown Austin. We came home. We were at home for Halloween, and I was Gamora from Guardians of the Galaxy, and my husband made a Groot costume, and I was going to have him show it on the podcast, but poor thing, it turned out really awesome, but once he put it on, all these little pieces were popping off, so he didn't end up getting to wear his costume for Halloween. So he ended up being wearing a wizard costume with a football and being Mr. Fantasy Football. But I was going to have him come on the podcast and talk about his costume, but it's not something that he can really come and sit down in because all, like I said, the pieces and things will fall off. Unfortunately, it took him a long time to make it. It took about 2 months, and he's very into Halloween and usually does make costumes, but they usually only take about a month. So this one took a lot longer. Anyway, we did have a good time. We got to see lots of costumes. People are crazy. They will wear anything. That's all I've got to say about that. But we did go and we went to this place called Russia House, and it was not crowded. It was really nice. We got to sit on sofas, and if you saw, I had pictures on Instagram. In one of the rooms they had on the wall, there was a spinning wheel, and then they had a doily, and then they had 2 knitted shawls on the wall. It was really, really cool. Mostly we had, like, they have Russian infused vodka was their big things. We had, like, I think we had pomegranate vodka or something. But what was really nice is they had a band, and it's funny. Initially they were playing kind of Austrian Russian themed music, but then by the end they were playing Led Zeppelin and whatever else they wanted to play. They were a good band. It was fun. And then there was also like a photo booth, and it was fun. Let me see if I have those photos over here. I might. Oh, yes, I do. Oh, no, those are from something else. I had some photos that we took when we went there, but I don't see them right now. Oh, Bella, don't crawl on my back here. She's trying to get behind me. There's not enough room to get behind me. No, those aren't them. Wow, I'm just all kinds of organized today, aren't I? I wrote up all my little notes and I thought I had everything together. But no, not quite. Okay, well, I do have a lot of things I want to talk about as far as what's coming up and the yarns that I have ready to go in the shop. Well, I won't talk about the ones I'm not going to put in the shop because I am trying to dye up a lot of stuff for the Fiber Festival coming up. Anyway, what I've been watching lately is I finally finished watching season 9 of Supernatural. I love Supernatural. That is one of my favorite shows. I can't, well, I do miss it. I always end up catching up after the season's over because when I come home, I don't always feel like watching TV. I watch a lot of podcasts, so kind of do these binges with Netflix. So right now I'm kind of behind on podcasts because I've been watching a lot of Netflix. We also started watching season 6 of Sons of Anarchy, and if you watch that, oh my gosh, the thing about that show is you think that they could not get any more evil, but yes, they can. It's crazy. So we've just started watching that. We haven't watched the whole season yet. And what I've been like binge watching now that I love is the originals. It's the spinoff from the Vampire Diaries, and it's set in New Orleans. And I love that because my family's from Louisiana, so I love seeing all the stuff in New Orleans. It's a lot of fun for me. And I also think the storyline is really good. It's much different from Vampire Diaries. It's not like 90210 with vampires. These are adults and they're doing adult things and it's adult themes, and I really enjoy it. I think it's fun. What I've been reading is I'm still listening to North and South on Craftlit. I've kind of slowed down because I got to a point where I'm like, no, it's not going the way I want it to. So I don't know what's going to happen next, and I'm kind of like, I don't know if I want her to end up with Mr. Lennox. I miss Mr. Thornton. Anyway, those of you who are not watching it or listening to it won't know what I'm talking about, so I will move on. My favorite thing I'm reading right now is The Magician King. I love Lev Grossman's series. It's very dark, so if you don't like dark, you probably won't like it. But hey, I'm Undead Yarn. Look at my poster. Look at my little creepy dolls. And all the horror stuff I love. So I really love The Magician King. It's, I know one of the ladies from Two Knit Lit Chicks didn't like it because she said it was too dark. It wasn't like Harry Potter. You know, Harry Potter has his dark stuff, but it's always got a positive theme underneath. This is not like that. These kids have some problems. And I guess I shouldn't call them kids because they're probably in their early 20s at this point in the book, but yeah, they have a lot of issues. Their lives have not been easy, and they have a lot of things that they've had to go through. So it is a lot darker, but it is kind of I could say it's kind of, if you like Harry Potter, but you would like an adult Harry Potter, you would like this, and I just really enjoy it. I love the magic in it and the fantasy. There's a fantasy world that they go into, and you find out there's more than one fantasy world. It's really compelling and interesting, and I love those dark characters, and I love how she gets into their psyche, or he, Lev Grossman, how he gets into their psyches. I love it. So I would recommend that if you like fantasy. Basically, if you like dark fantasy, I would recommend that. I have one thing for enabling, and then I have to go into giveaways. I have a couple of giveaways that need to be taken care of. But this is what I've got in the last couple of weeks. And this is basically all I've gotten in the last couple of weeks. Well, no, I can't say that because something else did come, but it's not yarn related, and I will show you that as well in a minute. But this is what I got from Northbound Knitting. I've been kind of watching for her updates because everything goes fast. This is the Metallurgy colorway. Isn't that gorgeous? It's silvers with browns, and this one doesn't have as much gold as I kind of hoped it would have more gold, but it's like bronze and gold and silver, and I just love it. And this is on her Superwash Merino 20% silk. That's why the colors look so great. Silk, I'm learning from my own dyeing that silk just takes colors so differently from some other fibers, and it's spectacular sometimes the way they come out. So I'm looking forward to doing something with this. I think this is probably going to be a shawl. I can't remember who did the shawl, but I saw a shawl that was knit with, may not have been this yarn, but it was very similar with the colors, and I think that they went well together, but I can't remember what it is off the top of my head right now. The other thing I got, oh, it doesn't show. I got an iPhone 6 Plus, but I haven't turned it on yet. And I'm probably not going to start using it until Sunday, because on Saturday I'm going to Kidden You, and I don't want to be worried about, do I have all the information I need on my phone when I'm out of town. So this I'm going to be reading about and looking at, but I probably won't officially turn it on until Sunday. But look how big it is. Ah! Poor Bella. Sorry, Bella. It's almost as big as my head. I don't think it's going to quite fit in my pocket, but I saw somebody when I was voting. Oh, that's another thing I did in the last couple of weeks. I did vote, and I was surprised. I had to wait an hour in line to vote, which is unusual for an election that's not a presidential election. But anyway, somebody in line behind me had an iPhone 6 Plus, and it was just before I got mine, and she had this cool little iPhone wallet case, and I think that's what I'm going to do, because I can't imagine fitting this and my big fat wallet and all kinds of other stuff into my purse. So I may see if I can like condense and have like an iPhone wallet. That would be so cool. I'm so excited about that. Oh, and on top of that, I also got, and I have to decide which one I'm going to use. Maybe y'all, well, I don't know if y'all would know, but some of you guys have Etsy shops. I got the new Etsy square, and I also have the square, and I haven't activated either one of them. I'm wondering, though, if I should just use the square, because the Etsy square, I think, just connects to your shop, which would be helpful if I was only selling stuff that's in my shop now, but I'm going to have things that I want to sell that I'm not going to be putting in my shop. So I'm kind of torn about which thing I need to use when I go to this fiber festival, especially since it's also going to be my first time. Can you tell I'm excited? I am. I'm very excited about it. Anyway, let me move on. Oh, and yes, this weekend I will be at Kidden You. I'm going with a friend, so if you see us, please come up and say hello. My friend's a little more well-known than I am, so if you see one of us, please come up and say hello. We're friendly. Anyway, it's time for me to move on to my the drawings. Oh, and when I'm at Kidden You, I know there are those of you who went to Rhinebeck, and maybe I was a teeny bit jealous, but I grew up in upstate New York, so I don't see myself going back there anytime soon. Most of my family has gone, and my friends have kind of scattered across the United States, so That's probably not an area I'll go back to, but I was a little wee bit jealous because so many people I know and so many people I'd like to meet were there. But guess what? You guys didn't get to get Mustache, and Mustache is going to be at Kidding You this weekend. So we'll see if I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to see if I can get that Dark Side of the Moon yarn. That looks pretty cool to me. Anyway, let's move on to drawings. There were 2 FOs in my Undead yarn, which made me very happy. One was in the Everyday is Halloween colorway, someone made socks, and then there was another pair of socks in one of my Roadkill colorways, and that one was a lace sock, and they both look beautiful. Thank you guys, and it makes me feel really good to see that. I went ahead and drew for the winners, because if you enter one of your objects in that thread, I'm just going to keep it open, and every month if there's an entry, you'll be eligible to win a $7 or less pattern from Ravelry. And I went ahead and drew, and the person who won is Cthulhu Loves Me, and that's Jen from Buffalo, New York. So Jen, if you can PM me, I will, and let me know what pattern you'd like. It needs to be $7 or less, giftable pattern on Ravelry. And then the yarns for the Monster in You Knit Along is done. It ended October 31st. And I enjoyed seeing your finished objects. I'm surprised I didn't see any socks, though. It was all little monsters and eyeballs. I love those eyeballs, I'm telling you. That's very creative. So anyway, I have 3 things I'm giving away. And the first one I showed you guys before. This is the bag from Rain Lover Knits, the skull bag, and on the inside it has more skulls and they're gray. And I haven't tried it, but I bet you could turn it the other way. Yeah, I think you could. Oh, these are actually the inside is gray, and it looks like they look like roses. So you could use the bag either way. And the person who won the bag was, she knit a werewolf. It's Rosebob from the UK. So Rosebob, if you will let me know, PM me your address, I will send you this bag, this great knitting bag. And I have one that I've been using. Mine is, oh, too far away to reach. It's actually holding my Viajante right now. So this is what you won, and if you PM me your address, I will get that out in the mail to you. And then I also had 2 skeins of yarn to give away, and they're both Halloween colors. Let's see, let me find those. Here's one, and where is the other one? Here's the other one. The first one is Regia Silk color, and it's oranges and yellows, and I suspect it's going to stripe because a lot of their yarns do stripe. This is a 50-gram skein, so it has over 200 yards. I can always make a pair of socks with at least 200 yards. If you have bigger feet, you could probably make a pair of footies, or you could make a scarf or a cowl with this. So the winner for that was Ange. Yep, Ange's Hip. I think you've won for me before, Ange. I think it's your name is Angie. And she made a bat. So Angie, if you will PM me your address, because I'm not sure if I still have it, and let me know, I will send this out to you. Let me know that you heard on the podcast that you won. And then the last prize is a skein of Vesper sock yarn, and this is in the Trick or Treat colorway, and it's, let's see, this is Superwash Merino. The Regia is silk and wool, I believe. Yes, this Regia is silk and wool, and this one is 100% Superwash Merino, and this is 428 yards. And the winner of this skein of yarn is Jamie Wolcott from Alabama. So Jamie, if you can PM me your address, I will get this out to you as soon as I can. So that's it for contests. Now for new colorways in the shop. I'm going to go ahead and show you the new Christmas well, I guess yeah, it's Christmas. It's from a Christmas show. But I did say, somebody asked me if I was going to put out a Christmas colorway, and I said yes, but it's not going to be your typical Christmas colorway. I'm not going to do blue and green, or blue and red, or whatever I said. Because I don't know if you remember, but I don't particularly like those two colors together. At least not the traditional red and green. I'm sorry, I'm going to take a sip of tea. Okay, that's better. And this is from one of my favorite TV shows when I was a kid. I would wait every year for this one to come out, and I think it's called The Year Without a Santa Claus. I could be wrong. I know that Rudolph is in this one. But I used to love when the two misers would come out singing and dancing. It just cracked me up to no end, even when I was little. I was like, that's awesome. So this is Heat Miser. And it is, oh, it's not showing how rich and beautiful these colors are. I took a picture and put it up on Instagram, but I'm going to get close up because I want you to see that there's sparkle. Let's see if I can shift the light a little bit. No, it's not showing as deep and beautiful as it is. This is a very deep orange, and it's basically oranges and reds together, but it basically is like a tonal orange, and it's very saturated. There are a couple, no, those spots are not white spots, those are orange spots. So it's basically orange and deep orange and red orange, and it sparkles, and it totally makes me think of Heat Miser. I wish the colors were showing up better. It's funny that I have the light pretty much the way it was last time, but not all the colors are showing up correctly. But I will put a good picture up on Etsy, and if you want to see what it looks like right now, you can go on my Instagram, because I did put a picture on Instagram of this. And I am going to have another Christmas colorway, but I am working on that. That one I'm not finished with yet. So as soon as I finish that one, I will probably post it. I usually post on Twitter the minute that I put something up in the shop, and I try to post on Plurk and Instagram, but it always is on Twitter. So if you want to know when I'm updating something in the shop, you should follow me on Twitter, because I always post when I put something new in the shop. And then I have these other colorways that I am so excited about. It's going to be a trilogy. Right now I've only have 2, and that's because I've tied them. When I dyed them, I was going for something different, but with the way that they came out, I just had to do it. And this is tying in with the Magician series that I've been reading, because I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. And when I read it, it makes me think of the outdoors and the ocean and trees and green, and because they go to very lush places. The first one isn't quite as lush. There's more indoor activity in the first book, because they're still teenagers and they're in kind of like a magical high school like Hogwarts, but it's more diabolical. The kids are more diabolical. They're older. They're doing things older kids do. But here is the first one. This is called Magician. And I am so disappointed that it's not getting the colors. It really is not getting the colors. This is a beautiful green, greens and blues, different greens and blues together. I really wish it could get the color. No, that is not showing it at all, because it's way more green than that. I will have to get a good color. It has greens and blue, a little bit of brown, little dashes of brown. And this is the Magician. This is the first one. And then I over-dyed it with another color. And this is going to be the Magician King, which is the one that follows. So this one is more green. It still has a little bit of blue, but this one is more green because when they travel through Fillory, there's more. Most of the scenery and most of the story is set in the outdoors. So this one is more saturated green. But they all have a little bit of brown thrown in there. I wish you could see. And you can't even really see the difference because the camera is not showing it very well. I probably need to talk to my husband about a setup because he's the one who set up the first 12 or 13 episodes, and the lighting was much better because he's more skilled at that than I am. But definitely go and look. I will put these up. I think I'm going to put all of them up. I have some DK. This one is the silk base, my silk high twist, my silk merino high twist. This one is the DK in the DK base. And I do have some others. I think I dyed in my merino nylon base. So I will be putting these up in the shop probably on Sunday. That's usually when I put new stuff in the shop. I usually put things up on Sunday. So anyway, I'm very excited about these. There is going to be a third one, but I wanted to wait until I've actually read the third book. I'm still on the second book right now. So Magician, Magician King, and then there will be a third one when I get to the third book. Anyway, I'm very excited about that. I'm just very excited about my business right now. If you see me at Kid and You this weekend, please come up and say hello. And I look forward to talking to you guys next time. And I want you to get busy living or get busy dying.